I want to thank you for joining me, and I'm really excited to share this presentation with you on SEL Check-Ins for Zoom. We're going to try an activity to start out called checking in. We're going to use our inner detective to check in with ourselves the way a good friend or good listener would. You're going to notice how your mind, body, and emotions feel in this moment, not yesterday or tomorrow, but right now. You can place your hand over your heart and notice what emotions or feelings are there. It is okay if they are simple or complicated. Just notice them. Now, choose 3 words from the check-in to describe how you feel. I think we're all in a really vulnerable space, and I think it's really important for us to check in with ourselves as well as for us to check in with our students. This is a resource. It's a modified version of the feelings wheel that you can use with your students at an elementary level all the way up to upper school. I wanted to also bring attention to the fact that teachers are working maybe harder than ever before to make sure that their resources are available to students online while they are home and social distancing. And I wanted to share this resource from Stop Where You Think called Self-Care for Teachers. Stop Where You Think gives a lot of free resources to educators, and I've linked both this handout as well as several others in this presentation. So why is this important? Last year, there was a viral video that went around of a teacher doing this check-in with her students in her class. And I love the in-person check-in and the ability for students to write their name on the back of the postcard, the post-it, and keep it private. It's important to remember that SEL consists of 5 key skills, and the first one being self-awareness. I think in order to best help our students recognize their own emotions, these check-ins are a really valuable piece of their education. I also feel that these check-ins can address many of the other components of SEL. One can manage their own emotions and behaviors better and regulate them once they're aware of them. I think having this awareness can also help with social awareness as well as building relationships. It's really important for students to identify how they're feeling, and these daily check-ins help them recognize those emotions and also the intensity of those emotions. I think these daily check-ins can also help students normalize that their feelings are okay. And it can help communicate to students that how they feel is really important to us as a community and that we care how they are feeling. So you might be asking yourself, how do I do this in a classroom? And I want to share some resources with you that I've gathered. So this is a more complex version of the feelings wheel. And it can be kind of overwhelming, I think, at first to someone who has low emotional intelligence or emotional IQ. I think that the simplified version is really helpful, not just for our younger students, but also for anyone who's beginning to understand their emotions a bit better. I referenced Stop, Breathe, Think earlier, and I wanted to share these resources with you as well. The center one is for lower school. The one on the far right is for middle and upper school. And the one on the left can really be for any of those ages. I like the center check-in because it's simple and it groups some of our emotions under those icons that most of our students are fairly familiar with. Another way for students to look at emotion is in this quadrant format. And I think something important with this format is helping them understand that they might be feeling things that exist in multiple areas. So they might be feeling motivated and excited, but also really sleepy and a little lonely. Helping students understand that their feelings can coexist is really a valuable lesson for them as well. So the weather wheel is a really cute lower school resource, but I think it's a great resource for students of any age. Uh, Weather is something that everyone understands. It's a common language that we understand the vocabulary to, and it's accessible. So having a student say, I feel like there's a big rain cloud over my head, or I feel very sunny today and up. It's another way for students to check in with themselves and how they're feeling. Fist 5 is a great mood scale that students can use as a visual check-in. And I like this check-in because not only is it silent, it doesn't require students to explain themselves, but it also allows others in the room to look around and notice where everyone is in that moment. You may have students in the room that are at a 5 and other students that are at a 1. Creating a space where all of those feelings can exist in one place, and also where all of those feelings are okay, they're acceptable, is really important for our kids to feel like they belong. And I also think it's important for them to understand that we might not always be feeling a 5. So for us to be able to share honestly in a vulnerable way how we're feeling. The road sign check-in. I like this one. It's really fun. Again, it's a vocabulary that students are really comfortable and mostly aware of, especially our older students who might have that driver's ed handbook that they're studying. I think often our students identify with the night 40 sign, or at least the students I've used this with, because they're very tired. You could also add in road signs to a check-in like this. A check-in that I've done that is a little more private is this one. And for this one in a Zoom call, I've had students chat to me to let me know how they're feeling. So they're privately sending me a message in chat to let me know blue heart, black heart, broken heart, yellow heart, red heart. So students type into the chat Purple Heart, and it helps me know where they are in that moment. And it helps me connect them to resources that they might need. Another visual check-in that I've used is this list of wellness icons. So I have students select the wellness icon that they most need. So they may look at this and say, I'm really thirsty. I need a bottle of water. I feel a little off balance. I feel like those 3 rocks. It's another way for them to just sit with themselves and check in and notice what they're feeling or what they need. And then these can be silly and not super serious. I used this one today with some middle schoolers and got some pretty funny responses. On a scale of hedgehog cake, how are you feeling today? I shared that I often feel like hedgehog number 4 at the end of a long day of Zoom calls and teaching. My eyes feel like hedgehog number 4. There's a lot of silly check-ins like this that you can find online to lighten the mood and to help students express something that they might not necessarily connect with. This is another check-in that I've used to learn more about a student. So having them choose 2 smells and then let me know why. So what are your 2 and why are they so important to you? And you can learn a lot about a student and their memories and things that are important to them from this check-in. I came across this image when I was putting the presentation together, and I love these little square faces because they're reminiscent of emojis, but they're a little different. And I think this is something you could use with students. So I am the yellow crying face, or I am the pink smiling face because it was really sunny and I got to go outside all afternoon today. Another resource I want to share with you is this list of check-in activities from George Brown. One of the check-in activities on the list is to say a phrase, 5 words or less, that describes your day yesterday. Another one is simply, if you could be any age, what age would you choose? And if you could hang out with anyone, who would it be and why? So now what? You've checked in. Your students might not always be okay. And I think recognizing when something changes, especially if you're doing these check-ins on a regular basis, daily or weekly, you may notice changes. It's really important to reach out to someone like Kate, our school social worker, or division head, and let them know when you notice a change in a student, and they can help you proceed and reach out to an advisor, a family, depending on the student. But first and foremost, reaching out and letting Kate know, and also division heads know, if you notice any significant changes in students' mood, behavior, emotional state. Something that you can do right away is talk to those students. Ask them if they're getting enough food, water, sleep, exercise. This is a great resource that went around in 2013. And there's some humor in it, but there's also a level of seriousness. And I think if you need to check in with yourself, a friend, a student, these are some good questions. So this presentation was created in a template from SlidesGo. Slide Carnival is another resource that I've used in the past. It gives you several pages of editable icons. So using these resources, you could create your own check-ins. There's educational, medical, business icons, teamwork, help and support, creative and performing arts icons, and then some nature icons at the very end. So if you're looking to build your own check-in, you can definitely use some of these resources that are at the end of this slide presentation. If you have any questions, please reach out, and I hope this was helpful.